Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be joined by Big D from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, and we're going to be reviewing the 2004 movie, The Punisher. So in this movie, FBI agent Frank Castle transforms into the vengeful Punisher after criminals murder his family, including his wife and son and his parents, and Castle is gravely injured in the attack and believed to be dead by Howard Saint, the crime lord who ordered the hit. And following his recovery, Castle becomes a heavily armed vigilante who will stop at nothing to exact revenge on Saint and dismantle his underworld empire. So, before I get into my part, I'm going to let Big D do his part, so take it away, Big D.
Hey everyone, this is the Big D here, and I'm about to collab with Ogre Boy again. This time around, it's going to be on The Punisher from 2004. Kind of an underrated Marvel movie, in my opinion. Now, first of all, the story isn't too bad and what have you. While it kind of takes a little bit of take out a bunch more bigger family than what it did in the comics, but I will say it wasn't too bad. And so Thomas Jane plays the title character and alter ego Frank Castle. Well, he has to get back at this, crime boss named Howard Saint, played by John Travolta. Once his goons take out his family, kill them all one by one. Yeah. But anyway, I think this film was kind of underrated, but it did have a ton of good action sequences. Now, aside from Thomas Jane and John Travolta, he wasn't too bad of a villain. We have Will Patton, who was good. He played one of Howard Saint's men, and Roy Scheider, you may remember from Jaws, as Frank's dad. We also have in the cast Laura Harring, who plays Howard Saint's wife. She wasn't too bad. Ben Foster, who would go on to play Angel in X-Men The Last Stand, he's in it. And Rebecca Romaine Stamos, also from the X-Men films, appears in this. And she was pretty good in this. Anyway, now, I really thought some of the stunts and action sequences were really awesome and what have you. I liked some of the blood and what have you that you see throughout the film as well. I think one of my few favorite kills was this guy who comes in to play his guitar and sing a song. His name was Harry Heck, and he was played by country singer Mark Colley. Yeah, that was really, really something. Carlos Salotto did the score for this film. I actually liked the main opening track in this. That was pretty dramatic and really, really awesome. The soundtrack also has a few good rockin' tunes as well. Now, among some of the songs you'd hear on the soundtrack include Step Up by Drowning Pool, and Broken by Cedar, along with Amy Lee from the band Evanescence. A lot of the other songs you hear in this are pretty good too. Anyway, I've still got my DVD of this, and I've watched it, and it's got some pretty good moments in why you might not have that many one-liners like you could get from other types of superhero films, but overall, The Punisher from 2004, it's not bad. While I don't really consider it to be the best superhero movie, but it does have a few good bloody, action-packed moments and what have you, and a pretty good cast and what have you. I think The Punisher isn't, again, as I've said already, bad. So as always, thanks for making me a part of this, Ogre Boy. Until next time, this is the Big D saying see ya.
Thank you, Big D, for joining me. It was great to have you on here again. And I gotta say, I agree with a lot of what you've said about this movie. And everything, because this movie is very underrated. I think it's a really awesome action revenge thriller and everything at the heart of it, but it is a really good adaptation of the Punisher. I haven't really read a lot of the comics and stuff, but I think this is a pretty good version of the character and everything. And Thomas Jane was just absolutely amazing as Frank Castle. I think he did a really excellent job and everything. And I was looking into the making of the movie and stuff, and they like had to convince him to do this role and everything, and he didn't want to do it at first because he just didn't want to be in a superhero movie and everything, and they finally talked him into it. I'm really glad they did, because he was amazing as Frank Castle. And I think John Travolta is pretty good as Howard Saint, although I will say that Howard Saint isn't like one of the best villains or anything, but John Travolta does a good enough job playing him and everything, and I think he's good at playing bad guys. I don't think this is necessarily the best villain he's ever played and everything. I think he was better in Swordfish and some of the other movies where he plays a bad guy, but he was still pretty good in this one. And the beginning where Frank's family is killed is really intense and kind of heartbreaking. It's really sad. He sees his parents and stuff get killed right in front of him, and then his wife and son gets killed and everything. So they do a really good job at making you want to root for Frank Castle to get his revenge and stuff, and he almost gets killed himself and everything, so he's trying to get revenge on Howard Saint and everything, and I think they do a really great job with that. There are parts in this movie that are kind of hard to watch, like when Ben Foster's character is getting his lip rings pulled out of him and stuff. That scene just makes me cringe every time I watch it. I'm like, man, that has to hurt. And everything. That's one of the standout scenes aside from the opening and everything. And I agree with Big D on the score too. It has a really good score, especially the music in the beginning of the movie. But this is just really really enjoy this one quite a bit. And also had found out that Kevin Feige had helped work on this one too, which is pretty cool and everything. Like him being involved with these movies from the early 2000s is like, this dude has kind of been part of the superhero genre through the whole run and everything since 2000 with X-Men and everything. So it's cool seeing how big he's become part of Marvel since movies like this one and the X-Men's and stuff came out. And I will say that the action is really great in here, and it holds up really well. There's a lot of really bloody kills and stuff, but and some really cool car chase scenes too, especially at the beginning of the movie and everything. So there's some really good moments and stuff throughout this whole movie and everything. So, and I watched the extended version that I had gotten on DVD at Vintage Stock not too long ago. I'd never seen it. It has 17 minutes of additional footage and really adds to the movie and everything. And it kind of adds a little bit more of you wanting to see him get his revenge and stuff, because he kind of goes after the guy who is supposed to be his friend that rats him out to Howard Saint and everything, and gets Howard to order to have him killed and everything. So that adds to the story and enhances it a little bit more too and everything. But I think the original version is a little bit better though, because like I kind of like the quicker pacing of it. This one, the added scenes kind of slowed the movie down a little bit and everything, but it didn't ruin the movie though. I thought it added pretty well to it and everything, but I could take it or leave it when it comes to the extended version and everything. I could watch the theatrical version anytime I want to either and everything, because I have that version too. So if I'm going to watch The Punisher, I may not personally go to this version though. But I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun, and has a really great action, great hero and everything with Frank Castle. I think he's one of my favorite Marvel characters and stuff. I haven't seen a lot of the Punisher stuff, but both movies that I've seen I've loved and everything, and I haven't seen the TV show yet. Everyone tells me how great that is. I need to watch it sometime and everything. I just hadn't got around to watching the Marvel Netflix shows Maybe eventually I will, and everything, but I love this version of the Punisher, and that's one of the reasons I haven't watched the show. Is when I think of the Punisher, I like thinking of Thomas Jane and everything, but I'm more open to seeing the other versions now than when they first came out and stuff. So eventually I will try to watch the show. But all in all, I think this is a really good movie from start to finish, and it's definitely one of Marvel's most underrated movies. I definitely agree with you on that, Big D, for sure, and everything, because this movie is really good, and I hope that somehow, if they're bringing back all these characters for the multiverse and stuff in upcoming MCU movies, I hope we get to see Thomas Jane return as the Punisher. I don't know if he'll want to do it, but it'd be really cool if he does. Because I personally thought he was a great Punisher. I'd love to see him and Dolph Lundgren's versions of the characters together like we did with No Way Home. That would be pretty cool and everything. Unfortunately, Ray Stevenson, who played him in the next movie that I'm going to be reviewing next week, Punisher Warzone, passed away recently, so he wouldn't be able to do it, but maybe get them two and the Netflix guy, John Berthnall, I think is his name, get the three of them together. It'd be pretty cool to see and everything. But yeah, so yeah, I'd give The Punisher a B+. I really enjoy this movie. It's not one of the very best Marvel movies, but it's definitely far from being one of the worst too, and everything. It's a pretty good movie, and I might even go as far to say that after Logan, this might be my favorite rated R Marvel movie. Right after Logan, maybe, I don't know. I think I at least could say I like it more than the Deadpool movies, which I know a lot of people say I'm crazy for, but I've always really loved this movie, and I'm glad they never went on with the sequel. I was looking it up, seeing why they never made the sequel and everything, and Thomas Jane dropped out of it because the scripts were just not very good and everything, and one of the things that they wanted to do was they wanted to bring in Jigsaw from the Saw movies to be a villain in a Punisher movie, and to me that just made no sense and sounded really stupid, so I'm glad that they didn't go that route, and everything. But this movie it's a pretty good Marvel movie. If you just watch it as a standalone, it's really great and everything, and really enjoyable. So and I do agree also that he could have had one-liners and stuff that would have made the movie even more fun and everything, but for what we got, I think it turned out really good. So I'm going to give The Punisher, like I said, a B+, and definitely would recommend it if you haven't seen it. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and thank you all for watching, and thank you, Big D, for joining. It was great having you on here as usual, and have a good day, everybody.